we've been communicating very poorly with our employees. This translates and gets exposed when we talk to AI. So let me give you an example. If I say something like, my wife and I went to a restaurant last night. We had this amazing dish. It was hot. What is it referring to? The dish? The day? The restaurant? Was it hot? You mean spicy? What do you mean? So that kind of ambiguity, well, you were there with me, you understand, but no, the employee wasn't there, the AI wasn't there, it doesn't understand fully, so it's going to guess.
Welcome back to another episode of Limitless. Today we have with us Daniel Hindi. He's the founder and CEO of Noem.ai. Daniel, a warm welcome to you. How are you today?
Good, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. And indeed, since your business name is Noem.ai, maybe the guest can already guess what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about cutting through the noise of AI. The world now is pretty cluttered for people. They are a bit anxious, perhaps, what should we do with all this AI, what's happening? And I'm hoping, Daniel, that you will be able to help us to get some clarity here and simplify it, hopefully, for our guest. And before we dig into the topic of AI, Daniel, can you give us a brief introduction to yourself, please?
Sure. Well, I'm a software engineer by trade. And early in my career, I got sick of making everybody rich and said, you know what, it's time to do it for myself. So I started my first startup company, and I have 5 successful startups under my belt. I have a full graveyard of failures that I won't talk about, but 5 successful ones. And my latest one is Noem.ai. And basically, as I was building my previous companies, 2 major departments that always were difficult to manage, in whether it was tech or any business really, it was the SDRs, the sales people who are taking your leads in and trying to convert them, and customer support. They always tend to be sort of the neglected departments in a company. And what ends up happening is, your SDRs, for example, the good ones say, hey, I don't want to be an SDR forever. And then they become an account executive to close deals. And you just spent 6 months, a year training somebody that is now gone. Same thing with support. And so I created Noem.ai to help address that issue.
Okay, that sounds great. And for some of the listeners who might not know, what is an SDR, Daniel?
A sales development representative. So we spend all this money in, Google or Facebook, Instagram with these ads to get people to our website to look at our products and services. And some of our products and services, they can just sign up and buy, but sometimes they want to talk to someone. So before we waste our, very expensive sales rep on a lead, the SDR vets that person, make sure that they have a budget, make sure that they're in the right region, they're a good fit for the company, both ways. The company's a good fit for them, they're a good fit for the company, and then they tease it off to your sales rep. So it helps optimize sales for inbound leads.
Okay, and you have a tool that can help automate that process with the use of AI. Is that the correct understanding so far?
Yes, so Noem.ai does AI agentic chatbots for SDRs and customer support. What does that mean? So we've all seen websites where you have on the bottom right corner a little circle button, you click on it and you chat with the chatbot. Most of them just ask you, is this a billing question? Are you a new customer? Is this a technical question? Here's the link. You're like, okay, but that didn't really help me, right? So what our AI does is it clones your top sales rep, your top customer support rep, and it says, tell me why you do the best job that you can do. And it turns it into an AI agent, and it deals with your leads and your customers like a concierge. It's not a tree flow. It's trying, just like a human would talk to you. How can I help you? What are you looking for today? Ask it, be inquisitive, gather the information in a more natural way, and then achieve a goal. And that could be booking a sales call. It could be retaining a customer that's about to leave. It could be dealing with objections and say, hey, I've been paying you X amount of dollars for X months. I'm unhappy, fix it for me. And so it does that on web, SMS, WhatsApp, social media, voice calls. So after hours, somebody calls and needs support. They pick up. We help convert leads 34% higher. So all the money that you spend on digital ads to get people to your website at, your ROAS, your return on ad spend, may not be optimal. We help convert that and say, okay, now they're on the website. Let's actually get them to buy right, your products and services. And if they are buying and they have an issue, your customer support tickets get reduced by a minimum of 80%, saving you thousands every year.
And Daniel, I have been on many websites where I got stuck with chatbots, and the first thing I try to do after getting stuck 2-3 times is ask, can I speak to a human, please? And sometimes it just loops then, and they don't have a human behind the scene to help me. Perhaps on travel sites and so on, this is a common problem. But is that maybe some pains that I have with me from the past, or is this still happening, or how can we overcome this?
So you're absolutely right. And we still see this till today. People don't necessarily have a problem chatting with AI, except for two major causes that gives you a bad experience. One, if you're trying to fake you're a human. If you tell me you're AI, I understand it's AI, it's not a problem. And actually, when you do that, you actually get better results. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. The other thing is just poor conversation. You could be on hold, please wait while we find a representative for 30 minutes. You finally jump, somebody's on a call, and they don't help you. The problem isn't AI versus human. It's I have a problem. Was it solved? Do you appreciate my time as your customer? Why do you think your time is only valuable? My time as a customer is valuable too. I don't want to spend 30 minutes just to say, sorry, call back tomorrow, right? So the quality of the conversation is king, regardless of who's holding that conversation. And the fact that if you're upfront that it's AI, what we see, because our AI acts more like a concierge, people are more direct with their problems. They're more direct with the solution they're looking for. So if I'm talking to a sales rep, I may not be upfront with my budget. I may, be shy that I don't have a big budget. Can you help me or not? With AI, I'll come in, listen, I have $500. Can you help me? Yes or no? Right? They're actually more direct with the AI. So the AI can actually help them quickly and vet them out because they're more honest with the AI because they don't feel they're being judged on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Daniel, for clarifying that. And I believe we have quite some new entrepreneurs listening today. The world is changing. People are leaving the corporate jobs either willingly or maybe they've been let go. So many of the listeners here might be in my age. I'm 50 myself, and find themselves now as new entrepreneurs, new business owners trying to scale up the business. And many of them I know are afraid of AI. What's the biggest misconceptions you hear about AI right now?
Well, for new entrepreneurs, it's the fear to begin. If you just dive in, I guarantee you it's a lot less complex than they make it sound. So companies like mine, our job is to make AI accessible for everybody, to reduce that barrier to entry. The technical terms they use for prompt engineering and token use, you don't need to worry about any of that. For example, on Noem.ai, you literally just type in your website and it creates a chatbot for you. Obviously, you want to fine tune it at a certain point, but that's all you have to do. Well, when you say fine tune it, what does that mean? It's just English, just like you would talk to a normal employee that you would say, this is what I want you to do, this is what I don't want you to do, this is how I want you to behave. You just use your natural language. That could be English, that could be French, that could be Portuguese, Spanish, anything you want. The biggest thing is over analyzing things, the analysis paralysis. I can give you 100 books about swimming. Until you jump into the pool, you don't know how to swim. So just get started, especially now if you're opening up a business. It's the best time to not overspend on human resource when you don't need it, and overcomplicating your tech stack. AI can help you a lot and save you money. And just don't overcommit on any particular technology, because again, if you're building it yourself, you're spending thousands of dollars every month just with an engineer to try to build something versus just using something off the shelf.
Right. And Daniel, I like your example there of reading books and jumping in the pool to learn to swim. Maybe you can share an example then of perhaps a business owner you helped, someone who was overwhelmed, who you could help to simplify the process and help them make it work for them.
So one that comes to mind is in the supplements industry. So e-commerce, selling vitamins, supplements, protein shakes, things of that nature. They have their own proprietary mix. And so they have this Shopify store, and they were worried, like, listen, I know logistics, I know supply chain. I use Shopify because I'm not big on tech. I want this problem to go away. So we came in and we came in as a customer support initially, and then went into sales as well. Once we showed them how the concierge process is with AI, we showed them how easy it is to say what makes your best rep the best rep, and told the AI in his own language that information. We saw actually customers that were canceling, saying, "Hey, cancel my order. I don't like it," to be upsold by the AI. He was astonished. Like, I never told the AI to do that. Look, the AI actually knows how to upsell. You don't have to spell out everything. You can just explain what your role is, what your goal is, a general outline of the process, and how you measure success. You've succeeded when you've retained a customer. You've succeeded when the customer has booked a meeting with sales. So they know what their goal is, and then it allows the customer to take the conversation where they want, but still achieve the goal that the company wants. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, Daniel. And then if we strip away all this hype of AI, where do you personally think AI brings the most value for small businesses?
So for small businesses, there is a lot of hype. There is a lot of hype. But the good thing is what they're hyping about, the cure for cancer, and it's going to replace the top minds, that's hype. What isn't hype is, and what I see this every day, the part that every contributor in the company hates about their job is what AI will take over. So we see between us and our employees, we spend far too much time in shallow task work, just checking off boxes. These are the things that bring us no joy, no fulfillment in our careers. Why? I don't have time. 30 minutes, I have another meeting. I have to get this done before the end of the day. It's my daughter's recital. It's 5 o'clock. I need to go. And so you're always in a rush. You're always wallowing in the shallows. So what we end up being with our employees is fingers on keyboard. Is that the value you bring to the company? No, I just need to get it done. Well, if AI could take away the fingers on keyboard, the task-oriented side of it, which is, my guess, 2/3 of your day, if I took that away from you, what would you do with the remainder part of your day? Well, if I'm doing something as simple as writing a blog, I have a blog writer on my team, you write a blog. If AI actually wrote the blog, but the blog writer spent time thinking who this blog is for, why am I writing this blog, and how do I measure success? Then all I have to do is feed that into the AI and then proofread, make some adjustments, and it's out. But the deep thinking, the thing that we've been robbed about, we went into this career because we love this career, but after a few years, we don't like it anymore because you're stuck in the shallows. I believe AI will bring us back to thinking deeply about why we're doing what we're doing, and all the mundane work AI will take away.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. And I hope you're right. And I hope that people think deeper rather than rushing things, because we see a lot of content being pushed out now, and clearly people haven't given it a deep thought before. They might just have taken something and said, write this blog or write this page. And my whole social media feed is packed with all of this AI, and you can spot it immediately. So I'm a speaker myself on authenticity, and that's my worry. What are the tips to the listeners there, Daniel? How can we keep it authentic while still using AI?
So just like you said, I can see the AI slop everywhere. It's easy to see, right? So the authenticity will make you stand out. The lazy will always fail. Spending time and thoughtfulness will make you succeed. So where does AI so is it black or white? I either use AI or I don't? No, AI is actually a good brainstorming tool. If you go into something like ChatGPT and say, you are not my friend, you are my colleague, and you poke holes in my ideas and give me constructive criticism. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about writing a blog. I'm thinking about creating a video about this. And if you told it like, hey, I want you to not agree with me all the time, right? Poke holes in what I'm doing. It'll help you vet out ideas. Like, oh, you know what? I never thought of it from that angle. That's a good angle. And just like everything, you have a team, you take the good and you leave the bad. Ideation is really good with AI. Prototyping. I have an idea. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Have AI build it really quickly, just as a straw man. and say, is it working? Okay, is AI going to take me all the way to the promised land? Okay, double down on AI. If not, I at least spent, I didn't spend thousands of dollars in weeks trying to build a prototype. I'm able to prototype and ideate much more quickly. If you're new to AI, just start there, and then it will slowly integrate more and more into the business tasks that you've been doing. And you'll see a lot of the mundane work that sucks up a lot of your time, AI will take over.
Sounds good, Daniel. And if there's some small business owners who's listening here who perhaps feel a bit behind on AI, what would you recommend them to do as a first step?
So if you're afraid of AI, just start with something like ChatGPT or Anthropic Claude. Just get used to talking to LLMs. One of the things that we notice with executives that have been around for 20 years, they'll start with on ChatGPT or something and just ask it to come up with an idea or come up with a document, a presentation or something like that. And they realize it's not doing a great job. That's not the fault of the AI. We've been communicating very poorly with our employees. This translates and gets exposed when we talk to AI. So let me give you an example. If I say something like, my wife and I went to a restaurant last night, we had this amazing dish. It was hot. What is it referring to? The dish? The day? The restaurant? Was it hot? You mean spicy? What do you mean? So that kind of ambiguity, well, you were there with me, you understand, but no, the employee wasn't there. The AI wasn't there. It doesn't understand fully, so it's going to guess. So when we task our employees out to go do something and they come back with subpar results, we realize, go back to your communication. Your communication was vague. AI exposes that immediately. And so what I see executives doing, the ones that engage AI more, they're realizing I have not been communicating as crisply as I should be, as clearly and concisely as I should be. And it translates into the real world on how they communicate with their customers, how they communicate with their employees, how they communicate with their family and friends. They realize we've been very poor communicators for such a long time. AI is exposing that and making it better. Yeah. So start there. Start with ideation, and it'll help you communicate better, and it'll help you understand slowly where you can implement this in your organization.
Yeah, and can you recommend any trainings or courses, or how should someone learn if someone want to learn AI?
There's a ton of courses out there. Right now, I just say YouTube and pick a technology and give it a try. Once you hit that barrier and you want to go to more advanced levels, find a good course to go to. But if you're starting from zero, you don't need to invest in a particular course. Just get started. And then once you've peaked to say, okay, I like this, I want to adopt it, but now we're getting into a little bit more gray area of how technical I need to be, that's where you jump into courses. And there are many online.
And Daniel, if we then are looking into the future, where is this all going? And will AI even start making judgments and decisions? And how will it evolve in the future? What do you see there?
So it's going to have two sides. Some side is bad, some side is good. The bad side, if people over-rely on AI and have atrophy in their critical thinking capabilities. We see this, I'm old enough to remember pre-internet, when the valued employee at a company was the one who had cardinal knowledge about how the business worked, right? And so they wouldn't share it with you. So I was a software engineer by trade, so they'll say, move, let me do it for you, because if they gave me that information, they lose value. Then the internet came in and we saw researchers. So you see all the students that are coming out, they actually research really well. But if Google didn't answer the question, they didn't know how to answer, because the answer needed to be given to them through their research for them to implement. Now, if AI takes implementation and research from us, what is left for us? Two major parts that I think will come back on the positive side. The ability to stick to the career that you chose and think about things deeply, understanding the why we're doing what we're doing. And we see this a lot with our 20-year-olds. They don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. I just show up for a job, I need to get a paycheck. No, there's a reason why you matter in this company. So understanding your why will come back, because when you're given time, you need meaning, and you go back to the meaning and not the busy work. The second thing is if robots are cleaning our house, if robots are cutting our lawns, and if AI is taking care of all the mundane work, right? What comes back? Well, if I showed you this picture and I told you this was AI generated, you may be impressed for a year or two or three. And then I say, you see that picture? That was hand drawn. The renaissance of the arts and craftsmanship. And if you're old enough, you remember where it used to be a luxury good, and then we went into mass manufacturing. I think we're going to go back into, no, a human built that for me. A human built this desk for me. A human, and the craftsmanship will come back. The value of a human spending time in their craft and being excellent at their craft, I think will come back.
That sounds like a good promise for the future, Daniel. Thank you so much for having come on the show to talk about cutting through the AI noise. Is there any question that I forgot to ask you? Something that you want to leave with all the listeners, Daniel?
You did a wonderful job. I just want to say to everybody, if you're worried about getting started, don't worry. Get started. You could choose Noem.ai or any other platform. The biggest thing to do is actually just get started. Jump in the pool, get wet. Don't worry, you're not going to drown in AI. It's a lot more fun than you think it is, and make sure you weed out the hype from the real when it comes to your business.
Sounds like you're really good advice, Daniel. In that regard, I'm actually going to the ocean for an ocean swim right now.
Excellent.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on the show, and thanks to all the listeners as well. Just finally then, Daniel, if someone want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Daniel Hindi at LinkedIn. You'll see me. There's not many Daniel Hindis out there. Or just go to Noem.ai and you can contact me through noem.ai. And always happy to help new entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs trying to break through the AI noise.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daniel, and thanks to the listeners as well.